Welcome to another episode of the Uniben Alumni Series. This is a show where we showcase former students, alumni of the University of Benin, one of the greatest tertiary institutions in Africa. And on today's episode, we have a man of several progressive paths. Um, He's an international broadcast journalist and a publisher of Gatekeeper News Media Outfit. He holds a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy from the University of Benin. He's Mr. Sulaiman Aledeh. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation.
Thank you very much, Kevin, for what you're doing, even before you started this, for all you've been doing for our association. Many of us never had the time to do what you're doing. And again, please, next time you're introducing people, always put, you have to qualify it, prestigious University of Benin. Let's start to qualify.
Yes, prestigious University of Benin. Thank you, Mr. Aledeh. We'll go straight to the discussion. It's just basically a chat about your time while you were a student at the university. And like I asked most of my previous guests, you studied philosophy in the university. Was that your first choice of study? Or you were like many others that wanted to study law and that was what they gave them, as we usually say. So was it your first choice of study, philosophy?
All right, okay. I'm happy that we're bringing this up. Philosophy was and is still my choice. I'm a pioneer student of the department, so we started philosophy. I remember then Dr. Ifido, he's now a professor.
Professor Ifido, yeah.
Yes, Himika Ifido is still at the Department of History and International Relations. We used to call him Uncle Mika. We're very close. He actually taught me how to play chess. He's also a Uniben alumni. I'm sure one day we should bring him on the program to come tell us about his days at the university. So we started talking, and I told him about the love of philosophy. But before then, I had tried about 3 times or twice to get into law. And he said, they don't bring philosophy, or you could try it. I tried. So philosophy was my very first choice, and I'm happy to be a pioneer student of that department. And even though my father didn't quite like it, but he came to love it later on because of my encounter with some of our friends, Jehovah Witnesses, who came to my house to, preach or remind us of the word. And we engaged, and some of the things I was saying, I didn't know my father was eavesdropping. So by the time they were done and they left, he asked me how I was able to have those conversations with them. And I said, philosophy. And he said it in our language. He said, this same philosophy, like this, philosophy. I said, yes, this same philosophy. So we engaged because at that point in time, we were already doing Hindu philosophy, African philosophy, quite a number of things, metaphysics, epistemology. And I was able to very well engage them in a civil way, share knowledge. And though a Muslim, one thing about the Jehovah Witness is that they are very, very accommodating people who will also listen to your own worldview or your religious view. So I'll say they were one of the most tolerant people. So just quite engaging. And since then, my father now felt okay, even though he was a staff of the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, then almost every staff, they were infatuated with the medical sciences because you see young doctors, young nurses, pharmacists. He bought into the whole idea, and I never looked back. Philosophy has been helping me in media as well.
I was coming to that question. What area do you think philosophy has been able to help in your current profession as a professional media practitioner?
My teacher then, lecturer as people would want to call them, Dr. Maduka, Chukwugozie Maduka, was very good in taking us to that particular course called Philosophy of Language.
Okay.
And he would not want to start that lecture without looking out for me in class, because I started media as a student. I was already on TV from 100 level, on radio, in 100 level. So he would tease and say, where's Sulaiman? My name is Sulaiman, but he called me the same name everyone would call me. He said, where's Sulaiman? He's not here. He should be here in this class. So philosophy of language and philosophical problems and analysis, that's another course. That is deeper than deep. We had some few people who took elective of that particular course from history. If you did philosophical problems and analysis, it's very engaging in our today's world. It is art of interviewing, in the art of listening, in the art of problem solving, and in the art of journalism overall. So those two for me stood out, and they're still helping me till date.
Yeah.
Something, but then you're up to something scandalous. Taste my bitter heart, no.
You just mentioned that you're already a journalist while still studying. And I think I can understand you were with Edo Broadcasting Service, if I'm correct, as at that time. How were you
Yes.
able to manage to handle these two responsibilities or two tasks as at then, as a student and as a young journalist, as a young broadcast journalist?
It was fun for us. We were not paid. By the way, I'll say thanks to Edo Broadcasting Service. They've been in the forefront of churning out good journalists. I wasn't paid. And how it all started was my elder brother. We were listening to someone on radio, and we spoke quite a lot of pidgin in Benin. And I said to him in pidgin, I said, how do you do it in this place? They do now, what did they talk and all that. So he drove to the station at New Lagos Road, and we met the MP, the manager of programs, Sheikh Muktamomo, blessed memory. And we told him what I wanted. And he said, you may have a good voice off air, and on air, it may be bad. So we'll do an audition. So he scheduled for an audition. And as I said, the rest is history. And I was able to cope with studies because I was placed on the evening belt.
Okay.
My shows then, where I started with radio, I had Thinking of You, which was a request program. And of course, every Uniben student at that point in time who was having their birthdays, call my name for radio, call my name for radio. So it was like, okay, I was big. So if you really want to hear your name on radio, you have to be very close to me. So they were part of the request show. Then later on, Cordelia Ope, who was our senior, I was in 100 level when she was graduating. She was already doing her NYC. She was doing a TV show for Sidi Lawal Igu and her husband called Here and There. So I joined Here and There. Here and There is it's our local or our regional make of newsline. So we're doing human angle stories. So I joined. So whenever Cordelia was away, I was put on television. And the first person who actually gave me my big break on television passed about 2 or 3 years ago, Hosseini Salami. So Hosseini Salami brought me on Weekend Rendezvous. Again, that's another weekend show. So he didn't disturb my
with your
studies.
studies. Yeah.
Yes. So I created the first entertainment show on TV in the whole of Edo Delta. I was doing the top 20 countdown. Then there was no internet. People didn't know anything about Billboard top 20 countdown. What I did then was to listen to Ray McDonald on Voice of America on shortwave band. So I'll record him. Then we still had cassette. So I'll record him on the cassette on the tape, and I'll play back. While playing back, it gave me a sense of how to write a script without going to any media school. So because I could see how his flow was. So, and I was also trying to ape him. Ape in the sense that it was helping me in my pronunciation. So if he goes like this number 2 song is the bomb, and I go, why did he say it's the bomb? Why not bomb? Why is he not pronouncing the last B? So without any training, I was trying to ape and know. So when he goes innovative, I said, he's not saying innovative. So I was learning all that and doing all that. So the idea was school didn't interfere, quite frankly, because I was out there in the evenings or in the night doing my shows. And I
Weekends.
was out there on Saturdays, yes, doing my other TV shows. So simultaneously, I was on radio and TV and also a student until I left school.
School. Oh, okay. Thank you for that. You must have a lot of memories from Uniben as a student. Can you share some of these memories with us? One or two that you can easily remember now and just look back and said, oh, that was a nice time, or it was not too pleasant as at that time?
Well, I'll call all of them fond memories, even though we had some really, really bad brush with some bad guys, if you know what I mean. So, but I'll especially because this whole thing you're doing is for people to learn. Uniben was fun. We created our own group called the Pep Family. Initially, it was called the Pep Boys. People from different departments, all boys. And guess what? We started having female friends, and they were always with us. So when I said, let us incorporate them into a part of this whole thing. So we now changed it from Pep Boys to Pep Family. PEP is an acronym for Persons of Enlightened Principles. So we felt that we were higher in our thinking because almost all of us had friends who were way older than us. I just told you about Professor Ifidon, who is still very much in Uniben. So you can imagine we had Uncle Mika, that's Professor Ifidon, guiding us. We were friends with many lecturers who were guiding us. So our thinking and our, relationships with people were way ahead of our time and our age. So we just say, we're enlightened minds. So we created that thing. And that was one big fun. Restaurants were coming up then, Saks Myers at the back of the Faculty of Arts, where people who were in love can take their girlfriends to and show off. I was in particular not a regular student, and I'll tell you why. It was later on we realized it was a thing that people deal with. I couldn't stand, I don't want to use those words, but I couldn't stand dirty places. I was always ill. I couldn't stand the smell of Dettol, Isaiah, that looked very much like reminds me of hospital. People would want to say I had OCD, but I still say no. Till date, there are some things I really can't do. So because of that, the hostel thing was out of it. My siblings, those who went to Auchi Polytechnic, those who went to Uniben, they stayed in campus, but I couldn't stay on campus. I was going from home. And when it got to 300 level, I stayed off campus. And that was the ugly side and interesting side. So while I was staying, on off campus,
was it a Kosodi or where did you stay off campus?
Before I was staying in a Kosodi. I was staying in a place called, I don't know if it still exists, called Golf Quarters. There was a place called Golf Quarters. Yes, Golf Quarters. I lived in Golf Quarters. At that point in time then we were always there was no Instagram then, but we were always taking pictures in faculty, the car park. Before you go in, you take picture, you post. Uniben. Let's give it to Uniben. Uniben has one of the most beautiful, scenery, the scenic view of Uniben. I always tell people when people were talking about Fashola back then, it looks like an aside. Oh, Fashola, they plant flower for Lagos. I said he got it perhaps from Uniben because no one ever attended Uniben that will not be in love with nature. The horticulture department in Uniben is still one of the best. From Uniben to UBTH, you see the flowers, you see the lawns, you see the the gardens, they
green
were very
area.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while we were taking our normal pictures, someone called out to me. He's no more, so I'll keep his name out of this. And he goes, I did talk to you, they work out. And I told him, what do you want? He said, okay, I'll visit you. So that night, he actually visited. He sent some
Oh.
people to come. Yeah. And they said they were looking for Sule, and nobody calls me Sule in school. So my friend, who is also of blessed memory, passed 2 years ago, my very good friend, we're always together. He came out and I saw them. So then I was praying. By the time I finished, they now came out, Sulaiman, are you? We don't know, are you? Then I thought, okay, go. While they were leaving, one other guy, in fact, I'm sure if he had time to watch this, he will understand. In fact, because we just reconnected now.
Okay.
He now saw them. He now said, when I come my den, come find person without mic. So he now told them to kneel down. I was, he looks like an ordinary guy. And I like, this ordinary guy, don't they tell people make them kneel down? He said, come my den, come find person. So he told them to kneel down. And they apologized to him and they left. And because he now lied to someone that I was actually seeing his girlfriend. And guess what? The girl wasn't a Uniben student. She was in College of Education in Catalog.
Okay.
So to cut a long story short, when we went to the girl's house, her mom went like how many times to the bathroom? Oh, and all that. Oh, this girl wants to put me in trouble and all that. She's not a student in Uniben. How did her name pop up? I said, well, my dad said, I just came here to tell your daughter, to tell her friend to let my son be. So that was it. So we had thought that had ended until I was going for my evening shows, still around Capac, I hailed the bike. Again, for those watching, in Uniben, we don't use the word Okada. We're through tush. Was a bike.
Yeah.
So I called the bike, hey, bike. And the bikes came, and these two guys came and they said, then we could recognize people in diploma in Uniben. I don't know if it happened in your time. I don't know how. Instinctively, we just know that you are in diploma. And those diploma student guys called that. Do you have scores to settle with anyone? I said, I don't have scores to settle. they now call that guy's name. The guy said it's no more now. Because I actually heard that he passed about 6 or 7 years ago when I was still in Lagos working. And I said, I don't have scores to settle. And well, to cut a long story again short, some of the people they had just joined us in arts. They were junior to us, not knowing that they were strong boys somewhere else before they came to Uniben. They were the ones that carried that matter on their head. We hear some people come meet you. They now call the guy and warn him that look back off. As again, they say everything is in the past, but that's the closest. And apart from all of that, it was all fun. We used to have a Scomit. Scomit was like a fashion event. I don't know if it's still there.
No, Scomit is not there anymore.
Good. So the Scomit show, I was anchor. I was host of Scomit, and that was when Basket Mount would come and backstage would tell me, make I sing. Basket Mount actually was a singer. A lot of people didn't know. He said, I won't sing. They will boo him. In Uniben. Oh, you don't hear it. People, and they'll boo him. He'll not come back and say, okay, I want talk joke. And the only big guy who was big on jokes then in Uniben was Gandoki, not Basket Mount. You see how, so Basket Mount's story, quickly here, is a story of resilience. It tells you of someone who's determined. Today, Basket Mount is number one in comedy as against what Gandoki was, while Basket Mount was in quote not there yet. So whatever you're doing, if you're still in school in Uniben, don't give up. Even outside Uniben, don't give up. Keep pushing. Today, Basket is very, very comfortable. Someone that we're all proud of. To point and say this is an alumni of the prestigious Uniben.
Thank you, sir. I can recall a few years ago you were in Uniben. You came around. I don't know if you've gone back ever since. Yeah. What can you say about the recent development when it comes to infrastructure architecture. Initially we talked about the horticulture and the nature. Do you still see that there? Do you still think that university up there when it comes to infrastructure?
I went to the Uniben some years ago, as noted by you. I would say they've done quite a lot. Yes, they've done quite a lot. The horticultural aspect is still very much there. I still could see the lawns, I see the trees, I see the gardens, even though some areas were bushy at that point when I came. But I still think the administrators of the school are doing well. Yes, we must face it. When we talk about funding for university education, I recall that Uniben, and later on when I went to do my master's in Unilag, these two schools were trying very hard because Uniben. So I think I saw Uniben Water. I don't know if there's
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. They see Uniben
Good.
water.
It tells you that there were efforts they were making to see that they get sources.
Yeah.
Yes, to push for this, and this is where some of us may also come in, as you're asking us to point to some of the things that they should do or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Uniben is still very okay, but I think by now, looking at the years I left in '99. Yes, decades later, I think the hostels should be elevated, and people should pay, more if you elevate the hostels, make them more beautiful, make them more habitable. I think the internet should be accessible by every student. As you're paid, get them an internet that your payment will activate a connection to internet for ease of study. Uniben should do a whole lot that other schools, because I remember then people scramble to make Uniben their first choice. Those who were in other schools were people who didn't make it to Uniben. I hope that is still the case, but if it's not, it's something that we all can work towards. And the mode of transportation around the Uniben should also be made better. Let's ensure that there's a standard. If you recall, then back then when Uber first came to Nigeria, not now that Uber is almost everywhere. You get into some cabs, you'll be asking, "Oh, guy, on AC." There must be a minimum that we will accept in Uniben. So if you're a cab, there must be a level that your cab or your bus would be. I don't know. I recall that, if you remember then, Kevin, back in the day in Benin, not even Uniben, if you don't have a very fine bus that has music in it, nobody would want to ride your bus.
Yeah, I remember.
So we can bring that back to our prestigious school and see how that pans out. But we need to support the administrators, see how the alumni can do something. Trust me. Our 1 kobo, 2 kobo can help, and we can also see how we can start some kind of mentoring, system whereby we can allocate, just the way you allocate people, and you say you've been posted for your NYC to XYZ. Let's start to identify some people who can mentor some people while they're still in school, once or twice in a month or in a quarter. Speaking to these people through medium like this, can help them, steer them well. We never had that. The only way we had one-on-one physically, maybe through lecturers in school, through some admin people, or some big uncle or auntie somewhere. But now is the time for us to expand our mentoring, system for our school and see. You're somewhere in the UK, someone can talk to you. You can guide someone. So with today's technology, there's no barrier. Yes, there's no barrier to doing that. I think is achievable, Kevin.
I want to put you on the spot right now, Mr. Sulaiman. With that, are you making commitments to make yourself available for such yeah, for such arrangements.
I've always been a mentor, so a mentee program is something that I can always buy into.
Thank you very much. That's indeed the Uniben spirit. And lastly, recently you celebrated your Golden Jubilee. Congratulations once again.
Thank you
Mm,
very
you've,
much.
you've seen life from different perspective. You've seen, yeah, yeah. And to the Uniben students and the younger alumni of the University of Benin, what can you say to us that are still finding our feet, still coming through and moving through life?
Well, I think being 50 is good that we're having this conversation some few weeks after my 50th birthday. Even though I don't feel 50, I know I
Yeah.
am 50. And I think basically it's try to keep up with uh, people uh, who ultimately become family. And how do you do that? Is try as much as possible not to forget your roots. One of my very good friends and mentors will say, keep your old friends, keep your old team, no matter what. You always need them. Uh, Keep in mind, for instance, if you start a new business today, off the top of your head, you'll be able to know a few persons that can actually be brought in to make
Yeah.
that business flourish. So let's try as much as possible not to kick away our past. It helps our present, and it makes us prepared for a better future. There are bad times. Let's say it the way it is.
Yeah.
Don't let them deceive you. There are bad times, but the only difference is knowing that it just is a phase, and it's a phase until you understand that in the books, for those who are Christians and for those who are Muslims, there's nothing that you're going through today that hasn't been gone through by one person. Uh, I'm a Muslim. Look at the Bible. I love the Bible. I went to a Christian school. I was privileged to meet Archbishop Benson down. So I had meals with him in his house on the same table. Look at Job. There's nothing Job didn't go through that anybody would tell me he or she has gone through today. Look at Daniel. There's nothing you want to say that people that by fighting, people hate you and all that. That would be so worse than what Daniel went through. Look at Joseph. There's nothing you want to say that is worse than your own family, your own people, coming at you.
You.
So that's nothing. So there are countless examples in the Bible, in the Quran, that tells you there is a phase. And ultimately, look at how Joseph ended. The same Joseph, and again, it comes to what we call networking. There's an example of networking in Joseph. He was in prison. And after interpreting the dream, he told the man, remember me. And the man came out, he forgot. But when trouble came, the man, the man even talk, say, I will come out like this. Now I interpret my dream. So
Yeah.
connections, networking, all of these things are in the good books. So if we try as much as possible to remember that, I remember how you and I were met, and I also remember what you've done for me and what you've done for extended families. So people should know that you cannot do it all alone. You need people as you soldier on in life, and don't be deterred by the problems, and don't take people for granted, and do not think that the only people you call family are the people who speak your tongue, or people who worship in your same worship place. Family are those people who have elevated and seen the importance of humankind, of humanity, and have taken you in as someone created by the same being. And that's it. It doesn't get better than that. Once you remember these cardinal views and you live by them, you'll be amazed at how far you go. That's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I know The viewers must have learned one or two things, especially your concluding remarks talking about networking. Keep your old friends. Yeah, we really would like to anchor on that. Thank you once again, Mr. Sulaiman Aledeh. Mr. Sulaiman Aledeh is an award-winning broadcast journalist and he holds a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy from the University of Benin. Thank you and God bless you. Bye.